Many people reflect and think that the end of the Mayan calendar is talking about the end of the world. Actually, they mean the end of the world as we know it, not per se. I mean everything's end. Um, we, me, I mean light workers. Uh, we think more of ascension more than anything else. In other words, when this world ends, it will still be here, but it will end for us. We will go into another dimension. Uh, the Christians call it the rapture, the exodus, the chosen ones who get to go. And actually, those chosen ones are anyone who has done their homework, who has raised their uh, vibrations in their body up, purifying your heart, whatever you want to call it, getting rid of the past karma, the you say the soul garbage that we carry with us from life to life and during this whole life. All the people who have hurt us and all the people we've hurt. You can't ascend, you can't go to the new earth, as they call it, which is now we're jumping into the revelations, but the revelations are mostly about the old earth and the old heaven passing away and the new earth and the new heaven being born. There's a possibility of a 3 day of darkness. Now that's just physical, so you can split this whole ascension thing up into two different parts. You've got the earth changes, the solar change, the second sun that's sitting next to ours right now that can be seen in Russia and Scotland and the North and the South Poles. You've got Planet X, which can be seen as a second moon sometimes. I took pictures of it. And you got the physical changes, the possibilities that in this alignment, which is going to happen on the 21st, all of the most all, I would say all of them, most all of the planets in our solar system are going to be lined with planets in another solar system, and they're lined with everything to the center of the universe, which means a central sun. In these cycles of cycles, you have what's called an elliptical cycle. And when these elliptical cycles cross, which hasn't happened for 27,400 years, which is what's going to happen Friday, okay, the 21st, you will see two suns. We're already seeing two suns. It's on Russian television. It's on television stations in America and Europe. When they use filters on their lenses, it shows the second sun. Or when you shoot through a double pane window. But of course, it's all blacked out by mainstream media. They don't want us to know anything about what's going to happen. They want the people to be in as much fear as possible. In a 3D brain, we're only using maybe 5%. In the 4D brain, you're going to be using 40, 50%. In the 5D brain, you're going to be using 75 to 100%. And the body will be much less than it is now. It's going to weigh half as much as it does now. We're going to have half as many cells. So this is a very, very large subject. Well, most people will not realize much of anything. They will stay here. This will collapse. It's collapsing right now. The dollar is going to collapse on that same day, the 21st, because the Federal Reserve will shut down. The private bank would be no longer printing the U.S. dollar. Food, fuel supplies, things will be hard in the next 3 to 6 months. If you don't have an ability or infrastructure in the country, and Belize doesn't have it, okay? Matter of fact, most of the world doesn't have much of an infrastructure now because it's all based on promissory notes, fiat money, play money. That's 3D reality. That's the immorality. That's the karma coming back from that. Going into fourth, we will be able to tap into, say, higher sources of information. We will be able to learn concepts, inventions, new energy systems. We'll be able to take back what they took away from us and start finding free energy systems. I can't tell you how it's going to be. Nobody can tell you how it's going to be because no one's around last time it happened. And the last time it happened, 27,400 years ago, That was alignment on a planet, but that was not a dispensation. A dispensation is when we move into another dimension. In the Bible, in the Revelations, they talk about this time, in the rapture, the chosen ones. They talk about what it means. Chosen one means anybody who chooses, who chooses to look within, to learn to love ourselves, to learn to love other people. And to learn to love ourselves and to learn to love other people, we have to forgive ourselves. We have to forgive other people. We have to be the Son of God in word, in action, not just in word. We're running around pretending that we're religious and going to church and carrying holy books around and pointing the finger at each other, every religion of the world, saying this is God's word, this is God's word, God gave this to us. And kidding anyone who doesn't believe in it, who doesn't believe it's the same. In essence, we're all created, we're all one, we're all sons and daughters of the Creator. You get signs, you hear things louder, the music is more beautiful, your colors, you see colors that you've never seen before, and shades of colors, and the purity of colors. You hear sound the way you never heard before. You smell things the way you never smelled before. You touch more intensely. Everything is intensified. Everything is rolled up into a much higher, because we're working with more of our DNA code. It's not just the 2 anymore. It's 4 or 6 or 8.
Where do we get our DNA from? As you mentioned, like we have 12 strands of DNA. And right now we
the Father designed them.
Father.
Our Creator, yeah. He designed them for us to evolve. But at any one time, only 2 or 4 is activated. We have to evolve. We have to be able to learn from our mistakes. We have to, become conscious of His divine will and make His will our will. And we're going to move into 4th and 5th dimension. Now, 5th dimension is not very physical. It gets very, very, more spiritual. And not many people are going to be able to make that. Only people with pure hearts. The 144,000 that they talk about in the Revelations. But 4th dimension is the next step. Yes, a lot of people are going to start going into that. I believe that God made man, but He made man in evolutionary form. Everything evolves. Everything evolves from one thing to the next, from one life form to the next. I believe that God created us with this plan to evolve. And we evolved from the monkey 4.5 million years ago. And 2nd D into 3rd D. But that time it was done for us by God, Michael, that's our Creator's, Michael Father, that's His name. And this time we're going to do it ourselves. In other words, as a conscious being, we're going to make this transition, this mutation, transformation. Some call it a paradigm shift, whatever you want to call it. It starts next week on the 21st. We're going to do that ourselves consciously. Besides the earth changes, which we don't know exactly what's going to happen either, but you're going to have changes going inside the body. We're going to begin to go on that date from a 2-strand DNA to a 12-strand, which is what we originally were designed for. But also at the same time, we're going to go from carbon-based to crystal-based entities. The magnetic forces from the sun affect the earth, and from a second sun would affect the earth even more, and from the central sun. So all of these cycles, everything is going to come to, a point on that date when all of these are lined up. It's like taking magnets, and you push them one side, the magnets, they repel each other. You turn them the other way and they pull to each other. And if you want to move things, if you want to make electric motors, you have one repelling, one pulling. And this creates momentum, this creates life, this creates energy. but it can also affect people and we're energy. Our bodies are electrical, and that's something else that's going to happen. You see, others predict that there will be more than that, that there will be pole shifts as well. I'm not sure. It could be, it could not be. Uh, Pole shifts could go completely from north to south and south to north, or they could go only halfway. And how long they shift and how long they stay in that shift, no one knows either. We're affected by other planets. We're not only affected by the moon and the sun, but we're affected by other planets in our solar system and farther out. Everything runs in cycles. Everything affects each other. We're all part of one bigger, say, movement,